This is the Nuckelavee, and you have to admit, it's a pretty terrifying looking creature, and it may be the most gruesome and terrifying demon in all of Scottish and Orcadian folklore. Orcadian is from the Orkney Isles. This creature is feared above all other sea spirits. Its mythology is rich in disturbing detail, and it's setting it apart as a singularly vile creature of pure pestilence and destruction. Now, the Nuckelavee is believed to be derived from the Orcadian dialect term likely originating from Old Norse, Nuckelavee, or a variation of a Gaelic word meaning dark or deadly water fiend. It's not a word that I'm going to say here on the show. You'll have to look it up. This etymology firmly establishes the creature's domain as a sea, and its nature as inherently malignant, rather than merely capricious like some fairies or kelpies. Unlike a water horse that only seeks to drown, the Nuckelavee is characterized by its broad, destructive intent, often translated simply as the devil of the sea. This powerful, terrifying title reflects the islanders' profound fear of the ocean's darkest potential, personified by a demon that specifically targets the health and sustainability of the entire island home. The most iconic and stomach-churning feature of the Nuckelavee is its complete lack of skin. Its horrifying form is entirely exposed, allowing observers to see its internal workings, the pale yellow of its fatty tissue, the black veins pulsing with ichor, and the raw, sinewy red of its muscles. This graphic, exposed state is a visceral symbol of raw, malevolent nature, stripped bare of any comforting mortal guise. This hideous, naked anatomy is central to its terror, forcing the viewer to confront the mechanics of its murderous existence without the softening barrier of skin or hair, making it one of the most physically repulsive creatures in European myth. The Nuckelavee's terrestrial form is a grotesque hybrid of a massive horse and a rider fused into a single seamless entity. The horse section is gigantic and monstrous, featuring flippers instead of hooves in some descriptions, and head of a man are permanently grafted onto the horse's back with its long arms sometimes dangling to the ground. This fusion suggests an unnatural and twisted reflection of a rider and mount, symbolizing the demonic corruption of a trusted partnership. The two halves act as one terrifying engine of destruction, emphasizing its unstoppable, unnatural momentum when it storms the shores of the Orkney Islands. The primary function of the Nuckelavee is not simple murder. It's to act as a catastrophic bringer of pestilence and disease. Whenever it comes ashore, it is said to cause immediate and widespread sickness, especially sudden virulent plagues that wipe out both human and livestock populations. The monster's breath is believed to be poisonous, capable of spreading a deadly, quick-moving contagion across the crofts and villages of the islands. This role made the Nuckelavee the mythical explanation for the worst natural disasters, from devastating epidemics to mysterious mass deaths of cattle. And despite its immense power over the sea, the Nuckelavee possesses a crucial, crippling weakness. It is utterly repelled by running fresh water. It cannot, under any circumstances, cross a running stream, even if it's only a tiny trickle of water flowing over the sand. It's weird. First and foremost, 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Secondly, the running water theme is also prevalent in vampires. Not all vampires, but a lot of vampire myths. Vampires cannot cross water, touch water, or even be around water. They can't cross rivers and stuff like that. So, for the Nuckelavee, this means that any person being pursued can gain instant protection simply by reaching the opposite bank of a stream or river. And this vulnerability is common among British water demons, symbolizing the inability of chaotic sea magic to penetrate the ordered, life-giving purity of inland waters. Beyond streams and rivers, the Nuckelavee is described as possessing an extreme and rare vulnerability. It cannot tolerate rain either. In some versions of the myth, even a single drop of rain falling on its skinless body causes it agonizing pain and forces it to flee immediately back into the sea. This detail reinforces the creature's status as a pure sea demon and ties its power to the weather cycle. A rainy season keeps the Nuckelavee subdued in the deep ocean, protecting the islanders. Conversely, a period of drought makes the demon much more active and menacing, as there is no rain to keep it at bay. The Nuckelavee is intimately connected with agricultural disaster, holding particular malice for the land and its productivity. It is sometimes known locally as the Mortasheen, a spirit whose appearance signals blight and crop failure. Its mere presence on the land is enough to cause crops to wither and die, and its touch or breath can cause livestock to become barren or fall instantly to disease. And this makes it a direct opponent of the farmer and the very livelihood of the islanders, threatening starvation as much as plague. The monstrous face of the Nuckelavee is often detailed as having a single massive eye that glows with a fiery red or yellow light fixed menacingly on its victim. This cyclopean feature emphasizes its distorted, unholy nature and enhances its terrifying predatory gaze. This single eye, often rolling madly, also highlights its lack of humanity and reason. It is a creature of singular, focused malice, designed only for destruction, making the act of looking into its face a deeply traumatizing and soul-shattering experience. The only known entity capable of controlling or subduing the Nuckelavee is the Myther of the Sea, a benign, powerful female spirit in Orcadian lore, often equated with the ocean itself. When the Nuckelavee goes on a prolonged rampage, islanders traditionally appeal to the Myther for protection. The Myther of the Sea uses her influence to curb the Nuckelavee's chaotic rage, often sending heavy rains to force the demon back into the depths. This establishes a powerful dichotomy in Orkney myth. The destructive sea demon is ultimately subservient to the gentler, more powerful creative spirit of the ocean. Orcadian custom once viewed seaweed with particular reverence, believing it held a strange power over the Nuckelavee, and legend holds that if a man wore a belt or carried a piece of freshly gathered kelp, the Nuckelavee would be forced to keep its distance. This protective measure stems from the belief that while the monster comes from the sea, it cannot control all the elements of the ocean, particularly the organic growing life of the kelp forest. A piece of seaweed acts as a humble, natural talisman against the demon's monstrous power. Despite its terrifying appearance, the Nuckelavee is often depicted as pursuing its victim with unnerving silence. Unlike the roaring kelpie or the wailing banshee, the Nuckelavee's approach is marked by the horrific physical sounds of its movements, the dragging of its enormous fleshly form across the sand rather than vocal cries. This silence adds a psychological layer to its terror, suggesting an unnatural, relentless purpose. It doesn't need to shout warnings. Its horrifying visage and tireless, unceasing movement are enough to instill panic and ensure the victim has no moment of rest until they find a stream to cross. In past times, Orcadian crofters would burn seaweed in the autumn to use the ash for fertilizer or sell potash. This practice, however, was believed to specifically anger the Nuckelavee, who viewed the smoke as an affront. The smoke from the burning kelp was thought to draw the Nuckelavee ashore to seek vengeance for the disruption. Consequently, islanders were meticulous in observing protective rituals before and during the kelp burning season to avoid incurring the demon's destructive wrath. The Nuckelavee's lore is often preserved through the famous Orcadian tale of Thomas, who is credited as the only man ever to have had a close encounter with the demon and lived to tell the tale. Thomas encountered the Nuckelavee on the road and was pursued relentlessly, and his salvation came when he managed to reach a running stream just in time. The Nuckelavee, howling in frustration, was forced to stop at the water's edge, allowing Thomas to escape and secure his place as a hero whose cleverness defeated the ultimate horror. One of the Nuckelavee's most feared power is its ability to directly influence weather patterns to bring drought and famine. Because its power is suppressed by rain and fresh water, a long dry spell gives the demon free, unhindered reign over the land. This capability made the islanders pray for rain, not just to sustain their crops, but literally to keep the monster submerged and imprisoned in the deep ocean. The absence of rain was seen not as a natural misfortune, but as a sign that the Nuckelavee was loose and actively working to destroy the land. The complete absence of skin means that the blood vessels, tendons, and muscles of the creature are all external. In descriptions, its black Icarus blood can be seen pulsing through yellow-white veins, providing a nightmarish contrast to the raw red muscles that drive its movements. This anatomical detail makes the Nuckelavee a unique spirit of horror. It doesn't look like a monster. It looks like a flayed living abomination. This level of visceral exposure serves to traumatize and paralyze its victims with disgust before the demon even needs to make physical contact. That's all I got. Like it if you like it. Like, subscribe, and comment. Talk to you soon.